What's going on, everyone? So I'm taking the dog out for a walk right now, and I thought it might be a good time to answer one of the common questions that I get from you guys, really, in every kind of Q&A live stream or Q&A on my Instagram that I do. This question comes up. The question is, will I ever see a vegan world? Or do I think that there will ever be a vegan world in my lifetime? Or do I think we will see a vegan world in our lifetime? It's kind of one of those questions, or all of those questions, basically. And my answer to this question is a tough one, because it's not a very nice question to answer for me, because at the end of the day, I've got what could be considered a pessimistic answer to this question, but it's more like optimistic realism, if that even exists. I'm realistic and optimistic, but it comes across as pessimistic. So this question, and it also, the answer to this question, it also is determined by your age. My answer would be determined by your age. I mean, if I'm talking about myself at 31, that's a very different answer to somebody who's asking me who's, maybe like 13 or even younger. So it really just depends on that. But let's first of all, let's answer the question for myself at 31. So let's give me a good ripe old age to die at. Let's say I die at like 100 or 101. So let's say 69, 70 years from now. Will there be a vegan world 69 to 70 years from now? No, there won't be a vegan world for that time. There won't be. And that's pessimistic, you might say, right? And maybe you're asking now, well, how can you just say that though? How could that even be? How are you so confident? We only need to take a look through the human issues that we're still currently dealing with, that haven't been properly dealt with, and how long they are still taking and have taken so far to get sorted out. I mean, take a look at like the slavery world in the world, and the unequal rights towards women, and the racism and sexism and all these things. I mean, there are still massive problems in our societies. There are still remnants of these, and there are also still issues related to these topics, to these issues. They're still around, and people have been fighting these for longer than 70 years. We're talking hundreds and hundreds of years of incremental changes, where things are definitely getting better and have gotten better than they used to be, but we're still not there. So that brings me back to the animal rights question. Will we have a world free of animal exploitation in 70 years from now? Will it be a vegan world? Well, no, of course not, because we still haven't eradicated those other issues, and unfortunately we are humans, and humans tend to favor other humans. Hey, sorry about that. So yeah, it's kind of pessimistic. It seems pessimistic to begin with when you take a look at the whole situation. Now, the reason the age was different, like, okay, for 70 years from now, is, these younger people won't be dead. Yeah, so the younger people among us, the like ones who maybe are like, I don't know, under 20, like well under 20, let's say. I think if you're 20 and above, the answer that I've just given you counts for that question. But if you're younger than that, if you're very young, well, you still won't see a vegan world, in my opinion, but you may start to see the foundations that have been built, and you may start to see what looks like the beginnings of what could be a vegan world, a world that is against animal exploitation. And that is more optimistic. That's less pessimistic. I'm being optimistic with that, because I feel like the foundations are being set right now by everyone who is currently an activist and a vegan. And you look at the media right now, you look at how the media is starting to respond to vegans, you look at how the general consensus is starting to respond to vegans, and it gives you a little bit of hope that, okay, there are some very, very, very basic foundations being built. So maybe the youngest people who are around right now, the youngest vegans, maybe they will see what is starting to look like the beginnings of a vegan world before they die. But I think us oldies, I don't think we're going to see it. But look, there is some hope, there is a light at the end of the tunnel for the ones who are a bit older though, because don't just feel like, oh, I'm vegan, it's not going to make a difference, or my activism won't make a difference. That's not what I'm trying to say here. What's important to note here is that those small foundations that will be in the future, that these younger people will start to see the beginnings of taking effect, you are building them now. You are building them piece by piece. You are setting a foundation for other foundations to be built on top of. You're setting the foundations, the absolute basics, the absolute beginnings of all of this vegan world. Without you, without us, it would be extremely difficult, even more difficult for the future generations to to build that vegan world that we unfortunately won't be alive to see. So don't be thinking about yourself and how shit the world is right now when you do your work and your activism and when you talk to people. Think about the future generations and all those animals that the future generations are going to be able to save thanks to your work that you put in all those years ago before there was a vegan world even on the agenda, right? You're building for the future, not necessarily for right now. And I know that is a tough pill to swallow, but that is how things get done. It's how things have been getting done in other movements too. Just people are fighting. They want change right now. But what ends up happening is it's incremental changes over a very long period of time that come into play. And those people who are fighting for change right now, in the beginning, they set the foundation for the people in the future to continue that fight, and sometimes even have monstrous gains in that fight and really make a difference. So that's how we've got to think, okay? And also, your work maybe isn't changing the world right now, true, but it is changing the world for every single animal that doesn't get killed, thanks to you not contributing to that, and thanks to you convincing others to not contribute to that. So it changes the world for many individual animals, although it may not change the world for every single one of them just yet. But in the future, your work will contribute to changing the world for every single one of them. So there it is. Hope you enjoyed this short little kind of vlog. If you did, let me know in the comments. If you have an alternative opinion, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you all in the next video.